Recording in progress.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for attending this webinar as a part of Goesmart 2020, together with the T20 Indonesia, which is a part of the G20 events. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning for people from Indonesia, and good day for people for all over around the world. Today, this webinar is organized by Smart City Community and Innovation Center, ITB, and we will talk about various topics regarding initiatives for strengthening cybersecurity and protecting privacy. Before we start this event, may I ask you to sing national anthem of Indonesia, Indonesia Raya. Okay.
Indonesia, tanah airku, tanah tumpah darahku. Di sanalah aku berdiri, cari Bandung ibuku. Indonesia kebangsaanku, bangsa dan tanah airku. Kita bersama, Indonesia bersatu. Hiduplah tanahku, hiduplah negeriku, bangsaku, rakyatku semuanya. Bangunlah jiwanya, bangunlah badannya, untuk Indonesia Raya.
At the beginning, we will start this event by opening a talk by Prof. Suhono Harsospangkat. He is also the head of Smart City and Community Innovation Center and also lead co-chair from Task Force 2, T20 Indonesia. Screen and time for you, Professor Suhono, please. Maybe the host will, can you help?
Sorry, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Yudis, and distinguished keynote speech, Lieutenant General Hinsa Siburian from Cyber and Crypto Agency, National Agency, and also distinguished keynote speech, Dr. Slamet Sudarsono, my best friend, and also all of the speakers from Brazil. Brazil is maybe it's in the night, nearly 11 of Hugo Bras Martin, and from Russia, Tatiana Kurbotova, and also Associate Professor Khairul Anwar, and all participants in this webinar. Welcome to this virtual discussion that in conjunction with the Goesmart 2022 and T20 2022. Goesmart is an annual meeting that organized by Smart City and Community Innovation ITB as activities to contribute on the improve the quality of life. And this year, in conjunction also with the G20, whereas Indonesia as a presidency this year. And T20 is a formal engagement for the G20 that Smart City and Community Innovation Center as a host institution for Task Force 2. There are 9 task force in Think Tank 22. Is one of these task force is meaningful digital connectivity, cybersecurity, and empowerment. And this task force is contain 9 policy area. That is, one is in the first is accessible and affordable universal internet access to rebuild and recover in the pandemic. The second policy area consider smartization and meaningful digitalization for sustainable development goal. Number 3, data governance as a data protection, cross-border data flow. Policy area number 4, digital government, smart city and smart villages. And number 5, AI governance and ethics. Number 6, digital literacy and skill for closing digital gap. 7 is small medium enterprise, startup, digital payment and technology adoption. Number 8 is cybersecurity, risk, threat and data privacy. And 9 is impact and potential of digital development cooperation. In regard to get the policy brief that will be submitted in a G20 in September, we are invite researchers in the world. There are about 800 proposals from the world and about 116 papers in regard with the task force 2. And based on a carefully review, we accept 33 papers that contain in 9 policy areas. And in each policy area, there are about 1 to 3 group of researchers in the world from America, from European, from Asia, from Africa, and also Australia. And every policy area we try to carefully discuss with our community and related community. And today, we consider in policy area number 8 in regard cybersecurity risk, threat, and data privacy. And Professor Khairul is a focal point in this policy area. Hope this policy area will be contribute for our safe and secure in our smart society for the future, our challenges. That is our small speech, and hope we can discuss for the better policy brief for the G20 in the future. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Professor Suhono, for the opening talk. And thank you also for illustrating what is the relation of T20, this event, and also later becoming a G20 as a policy brief coming from the T20 to G20. All right, we will continue to our first keynote speaker from Lieutenant General retired Hisna Siburian. He's a head of National Cyber and Crypto Agency, or in Indonesia we call it BSSN. Unfortunately, he cannot attend this event, but he had managed pre-record this remark for all the attendees that coming for these events. He will talk about the policy to reduce government cybersecurity risks. Kindly request to administrator to play his remark.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Yang saya hormati Deputi Bidang Politik, Hukum, Pertahanan dan Keamanan Kementerian PPN Bappenas, Bapak Dr. Insinyur Slamet Sudarsono. Yang kami hormati Ketua Pusat Inovasi Kota dan Komunitas Cerdas Institut Teknologi Bandung, ITB, Profesor Suhono Harso Supangkat. Yang kami hormati para narasumber, moderator, serta hadirin peserta Goesmart 2022. Marilah kita panjatkan puji dan syukur kehadirat Tuhan Yang Maha Kuasa karena atas perlindungannya. Pada kesempatan yang baik ini kita dapat mengikuti kegiatan Goesmart 2022 Recover Together, Recover Stronger. Pertama-tama saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada panitia yang telah memberi kesempatan kepada BSSN untuk ikut berpartisipasi pada kegiatan yang penting ini. Hadirin yang berbahagia, digitalisasi telah menyentuh hampir semua aspek kehidupan manusia. Perkembangan teknologi komputasi telah mencapai pada tahap di mana internet mampu menyambungkan hampir semua perangkat fisik dan non-fisik dalam suatu jaringan terintegrasi. Seluruh perangkat atau objek yang berdimensi fisik maupun non-fisik dalam kehidupan manusia semakin terintegrasi ke dalam jaringan informasi digital. Mulai dari skala rumah tangga, organisasi, perusahaan, baik nasional maupun global. Selama terhubung dengan internet, peralatan maupun aktivitas dapat dikendalikan dari jarak jauh melalui jaringan informasi yang sudah tersedia. Dalam konteks ini, terbentuk sistem siber dan fisik yang secara komprehensif mencakup inovasi-inovasi dalam bentuk smart grid, home automation, smart car, hingga smart city dan community. Ketika diskusi tentang digitalisasi, Internet of Things, cloud computing, atau big data analytics, sangat didominasi pandangan positivistik akan peluang kesejahteraan. Namun, Bapak Presiden Republik Indonesia, Bapak Joko Widodo, telah mengingatkan kita tentang peluang ancaman di baliknya, yaitu Indonesia harus siaga menghadapi ancaman kejahatan siber, termasuk kejahatan penyalahgunaan data, dan di bidang pertahanan keamanan kita harus tanggap dan siap menghadapi perang siber. Pemerintah menyadari bahwa dalam ruang publik terdigitalisasi ini, pelibatan negara masih perlu ditingkatkan. Tidak hanya sebatas konteks mendukung akses informasi yang terbuka dan demokratis untuk semua orang. Regulasi yang ada di tingkat nasional maupun masih perlu diarahkan untuk mengurangi hambatan-hambatan terhadap landscape komunikasi informasi terdigitalisasi. Dan perlu memperhatikan aspek perlindungan data-data serta keamanan di ruang siber. Oleh karenanya, negara sebagai regulator dituntut melakukan intervensi atas pelindungan yang diperlukan dikarenakan kondisi kemajuan teknologi yang selalu berjalan lebih cepat dari kemampuan negara dalam mengatur hal tersebut. Bapak Ibu yang berbahagia, salah satu isu utama yang dibahas dalam Digital Economic Working Group G20 adalah mengenai arus data lintas negara, cross-border data flow. Tentunya dalam membangun arus data dan identitas digital yang kondusif, kepercayaan, trust terhadap keamanan data pengguna menjadi hal yang vital. Berdasarkan data Direktorat Operasi BSSN, tren serangan siber di Indonesia tahun 2021 mengalami peningkatan. Baik serangan siber yang bersifat teknis seperti peretasan, malware, aktivitas Trojan, information gathering, dan lain-lain, maupun serangan siber yang bersifat sosial seperti hoax, hate speech, propaganda, dan lain-lain. Kembali ke topik pembahasan saya pada hari ini, kita perlu terlebih dahulu mengidentifikasi risiko keamanan siber yang ada di pemerintahan. Berdasarkan data olahan BSSN per Maret 2022 tercatat sejumlah 784.257 serangan siber yang menyerang sistem elektronik pemerintah. Sebaran serangan dengan frekuensi tinggi, antara lain serangan malware 80,8%, Trojan activity 14%, dan advanced persistent threat APT 4,5%. Total serangan ini mengalami peningkatan signifikan dibanding tahun sebelumnya. Isu keamanan siber di Indonesia menjadi agenda prioritas pemerintah yang masih memerlukan perbaikan dari aspek regulasi maupun aspek teknis. Sebagai langkah konkret, beberapa draft regulasi setingkat undang-undang terkait dengan keamanan siber sedang disusun di Indonesia, yakni rancangan undang-undang keamanan dan ketahanan siber, dan BSSN juga sedang menyusun beberapa pengaturan strategis di bidang keamanan siber, antara lain Peraturan Presiden tentang Strategi Keamanan Siber Nasional, Manajemen Krisis Siber Nasional, dan Perlindungan Infrastruktur Informasi Vital, yang saat ini sudah dalam tahap finalisasi. Bapak Ibu yang berbahagia, strategi keamanan siber nasional merupakan arah kebijakan nasional dalam menggunakan seluruh sumber daya siber nasional untuk mewujudkan keamanan siber guna mempertahankan dan memajukan kepentingan nasional. Perwujudannya adalah kerjasama yang sinergis antara penyelenggara negara, pelaku industri, akademisi, dan masyarakat. Strategi keamanan siber nasional akan memiliki 8 fokus area kerja yang menjadi prioritas diantaranya tata kelola, manajemen risiko dalam keamanan siber nasional, kesiapsiagaan dan ketahanan, perlindungan infrastruktur informasi vital, kemandirian kriptografi nasional, pembangunan kapasitas dan kapasitas, legislasi dan regulasi, serta kerjasama internasional. Pengaturan-pengaturan ini diharapkan mampu membangun dan membentuk kekuatan siber nasional, membangun dan mengkonsolidasikan sistem proteksi infrastruktur informasi vital nasional, serta memelihara kesigapan dan ketahanan siber nasional dalam menghadapi ancaman dan kemungkinan terjadinya krisis siber. Selain dari aspek regulasi, BSSN juga melakukan mitigasi risiko keamanan siber pemerintah dari aspek teknis dan sumber daya manusia, antara lain melalui penguatan kapasitas stakeholders dalam melakukan penanggulangan dan pemulihan insiden keamanan siber dengan membangun tim Computer Security Incident Response Team di sektor pemerintah pusat maupun daerah. BSSN juga secara aktif mendorong kerjasama dan kolaborasi dengan berbagai pemangku kepentingan, baik sektor publik maupun swasta, dalam memperkuat peran dan berbagi informasi terkait keamanan siber untuk menciptakan lingkungan keamanan siber nasional yang kondusif. Dengan meningkatnya keamanan siber nasional, diharapkan negara akan lebih mampu menghadapi dan menjawab tantangan keamanan siber di tingkat regional dan global di masa kini dan masa mendatang. Ibu Bapak yang saya hormati, demikian yang dapat saya sampaikan. Terima kasih atas perhatiannya. Kami akhiri. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Om Santi 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 Om. Namo Buddhaya. Salam kebajikan dan salam sehat untuk kita semua.
Thank you for Mr. Hisnasad Siburian for the remarks, and we will continue for the second keynote speaker from Dr. Insinyur Slamet Sudarsono. He is a deputy for politics, law, defense, and security from National Development Planning Agency, or in Indonesia we call Bappenas. He will deliver the speech regarding national cybersecurity and cyber defense strategy. Mr. Slamet, screen and times is yours.
Honorable Lieutenant General Retired Insa Siburian, Head of the National Cyber and Crypto Agency, Professor Suhono Harso Sepangkat, Head of Smart City and Community Innovation Center, Institute Teknologi Bandung, Mr. Samuel Abriani Pangarapan, Director General of Informatic Applications, Mr. Khairul Anwar, Director, the University Center of Excellence for Advanced Intelligent Communications, Telkom University, Ms. Tatiana Kurbatova, Center for Global IT Cooperation, Mr. Paulo Carvalho, Brazilian Center for International Relations, Mr. Kok Che Tai, Smart City Limited, as well as ladies and gentlemen that join with us here today at Goesmart 2022, Recover Together, Recover Stronger. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. On this fine and beautiful day, by the grace of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, the One Almighty, we are grateful to have the opportunity to gather here all today at Goesmart 2022, Recover Together, Recover Stronger, as a part of the T20 side event presented by the host institutions of Task Force 2, Smart City and Community Innovation Center, SCCIC, Institute Teknologi Bandung. Please allow me to give my appreciation to SCCIC for initiating this concerning yet interesting topic as a webinar session titled Initiative for Strengthening Cybersecurity and Protecting Privacy. Cybersecurity and data privacy have been the keywords that are trending in the past few years, with a strong correlation between the two. Cybersecurity can be defined as the practice of protecting critical systems and sensitive information from digital attacks, while user privacy data is being one of the sensitive information that needs to be protected. The honorable ladies and gentlemen, cybersecurity has been a strategic issue at the global level since the use of information and communication technology applies to every aspect of life. In line with the high use of information and technology, the level of risk and threat of information and communication technology misuse is getting riskier and more complex. According to World Economic Forum Global Cybersecurity Outlook 2022, cybersecurity must be seen as a strategic issue that impacts decision-making, as the rise of supply chain threats and the escalation in ransomware attack should be seen as the most pressing cyber challenges that need to be addressed. Malicious cyber activities can and will threaten national and economic security, thus also able to impact the daily lives of individuals, communities, and organizations. As digitalization grows and new technologies keep being introduced, cyber risk will also inevitably grow. When considering technology adoption and implementation, the potential cyber risk and vulnerabilities of these new technologies should be on the minds of every leader. Looking back in the past few years, cyber threats and security have been major issues, both internationally and nationally. Cybersecurity authorities in the US, Australia, and the UK had observed an increase in sophisticated, high-impact ransomware incidents against critical infrastructure organizations globally. The attacks on ministries, banks, health systems, supermarket chains, local administration, and telecommunication operators show that the target of attacks is the sector that is critical to the functioning of our economies and societies. Changes in attack patterns and motives urge us to rethink our approach and provide an adaptive response to the threats. Cyber warfare has also become not something of the future, but is a reality that occurs right at this moment. Cyber war is just as volatile as physical battle. Cyber attacks on critical infrastructure can be as destructive as physical attacks. Based on the National Cyber and Crypto Agency 2021 Annual Monitoring Report on Cybersecurity, there have been at least 1.6 billion traffic anomalies in Indonesia. This number increased significantly compared to almost 500 million traffic anomalies that occurred in 2020. Other strategic issues on cybersecurity in Indonesia that are significant to be highlighted are the still lacking number of human resources with strong capabilities in cybersecurity. The scope of internet monitoring of just 2%, whilst internet traffic increases from 12 terabyte to 25 terabyte, and the growing number internet service provider, which implicates more cyberspace that needs to be monitored as the probability of anomaly increases. The Honorable Ladies and Gentlemen, responding to the urgent need to create a strategic cyber environment and implementation of a safe, reliable, and trustworthy electronic system, the Indonesian government, through the Presidential Decree number 18 of 2020 on the National Medium-Term Development Plan of 2020-25, formulate an intervention in form of cybersecurity policy. In general, government policies related to defense and security are in national priority number 7 for political, legal, defense, and security stability, particularly in the priority program for maintaining national security stability. In the development plan for this period, the strategy for strengthening cybersecurity and resilience is implemented in the form of a national strategic project, or what is often referred to as a major project. This major project focus to strengthen Indonesia's National Security Operations Center, and SOC, as well as forming 121 computer security incident response team, CSIRT, throughout all the central governmental institutions and provincial governments in Indonesia. There are 5 aspects that are emphasized in this quality intervention. Number 1, development of cyber defense. The focus on this aspect is to build a cyber defense in a military context. Number 2, development and strengthening of the cybersecurity response team. Number 3, strengthening infrastructure, human resources, and cybersecurity regulations. Number 4, the resolution of cyber crimes. Number 5, prevention of cyber crimes and enhancement of international cooperation in the cyber sector. The major project on cybersecurity is formulated to integrate the task and function of cybersecurity in Indonesia and to actualize a trusted and protected governance, cyber defense, security, and endurance from cyber threat attacks. The National Cyber and Crypto Agency is a leading sector for cybersecurity in Indonesia and has the authority to control the National Security Operations Center. Through the NSOC, the National Cyber and Crypto Agency also coordinates the operation of the Security Operations Center, head by other 4 key cybersecurity institutions: Ministry of Defense, State Intelligence Agency, Indonesia National Police, and Attorney General Office. Through this platform, the institutions actively and collaboratively share their data and information on cyber attack patterns as a form of protection and shared situational awareness. The Honorable ladies and gentlemen, in regards to Indonesia's performance and commitment to the issue of cybersecurity, it can be measured and seen through the publication of the Global Cybersecurity Index published by the International Telecommunication Union in 2020. Indonesia's score and rank are consistently rising from 2017 to 22. In 2022, Indonesia got an overall score of 94.88 out of 100 and ranked 24th globally. Our 5 pillars, which are legal, technical, organizational, capacity development, and cooperation, have seen an improvement compared to the previous years. We certainly hope that even when cybersecurity risks, priorities, and resources evolve unpredictably, Indonesia can remain strong and agile against cyber threats and crimes. The Honorable ladies and gentlemen, in this webinar of Initiative for Strengthening Cybersecurity and Protecting Privacy, we fully supported the T20 or T20 agenda, especially in Task Force 2, Meaningful Digital Connectivity, Cybersecurity, Empowerment for bringing together leading think tanks and research centers worldwide that serve as the ideas bank of the G20 and aims to provide research-based policy recommendation to the G20 leaders. As the topic of our keynote, National Cybersecurity and Cyber Defense Strategy, we would like to emphasize that intervention in maintaining Indonesia's cybersecurity needs to be done collaboratively. We are fully aware of the importance of bringing up awareness around the issue of cybersecurity. We thus encourage and invite every stakeholder to support and actualize the National Cybersecurity and Cyber Defense Strategy Plan. I fully trust that the sessions will enrich and equip us with useful information and wish for a very productive session ahead of us. That is all that I can say here for today. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Slamet, for a very, very detailed remark regarding Indonesian plan to address the issue on cybersecurity and privacy. Ladies and gentlemen, all the attendees, we will enter to the next sessions, which is the main sessions where actually there are 3 speakers coming from various backgrounds will deliver his talks regarding on various issues. Okay. We welcome all participants to ask a question using a raise hands features from Zoom at the end of the 3 speakers talk. And also if you have some problem on your infrastructure, you can also drop some text on the chat, and the organizer will recap all the question coming from the participants. Unfortunately, for the first speaker, Mr. Samuel Pangarepan, with Directorate General of Informatics and Applications, he couldn't manage to attend this webinar. We will continue directly to the second speaker. The second speaker is Mr. Khairul Anwar from Telkom University. He's the Director of Center of Excellence for Advanced Intelligence Communications in Telkom University. Mr. Khairul Anwar, all the time and screen is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yudhistira, for the time and also the screen. So first, I would like to check my screen here. I do hope that everything is going well.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So okay. So everybody, good morning to you and to you everywhere. So good morning or good evening or I said I think the best is good day for you all. First, I would like to thanks to Professor Suhono for managing this very important meeting, and also would like to thanks to the TF2 Secretariat, and I would like also thanks to Dr. Insinyur Slamet Sudarsono, and I also would like to thanks to our authors. We have the Dr. Tatiana Kurbatova from Center for IT Cooperation. And then we have Dr. Paulo Carvalho from Brazilian Center for International Relations. We have Dr. Ko Sitei from Korea, from Smart City Network. And I would like also to thanks to all participants for joining this event. Everybody, that as stated by Professor Suhono, that today's meeting is first to update about our study for the T20 for G20 of Indonesia presidency, and then the second is to receive the input from all audience, to improve our policy brief. So those are two purposes that we are expecting to receive from all of you. Okay, so my name is Khairul Anwar, the director from the University Center of Excellence for Advanced Intelligent Communications, Telkom University. As requested by the committee, that the title for me is Emerging Technologies for Cybersecurity. So this related to some details of the technology, but I will try not to talk too much about the detail, such that everybody can catch up what is important for the future and what we should include into our policy brief. Okay, so these are our current 5 top product or top projects. And I highlight that there are two related to our discussion today. The first is the next generation of IoT. So we do believe that for wireless communication, wireless applications, the security is important there. And then we are also ready to provide security protection for the new generation of IoT we propose here. We use the coded random access, and we provide some script there such that the next generation of IoT not only provide very high throughput compared to others, but also provide secure communications. And then the second related to the current emerging technologies. Actually, I would like to discuss and to explain maybe that there are two technologies that we need to consider besides the current existing technologies. The first is the machine learning or artificial intelligence to help us to detect the intrusion or the attack. And then the second is the quantum key distribution and quantum error corrections, because with the principle of the quantum that we cannot clone, then it is very useful for the future security. So I think those two are the main discussion of our meeting today, that I do hope that some insight can be included in the policy brief for the G20 of Indonesia presidency. And then let me take a look back to our previous G20 presidencies. So the discussion about cybersecurity issues have been started in T20 of Argentina in 2018 in the Task Force 1. That is the title is The Future of the Work and Education for the Digital Age. So the issue was to rebuild the Hamburg Statement in 2017, that digital transformation require the concern of cybersecurity, and then in this discussion of and in this recommendation of the T20, big data and artificial intelligence systems should guarantee privacy and security. Data algorithm must be protected against the theft and employers of AI providers. So I think this is also a good recommendation from T20 in 2018. And then in Japan in 2019, the cybersecurity issue has been discussed in Task Force 2 with the title of International Financial Architecture for Stability and Development, Crypto Asset and Financial Technology of Fintech. So the recommendation there was G20 should lead on developing principles in policy and regulation to ensure adequate level of cybersecurity and data privacy while encouraging innovations. And then in Saudi Arabia of 2020, the security of cyberspace has been discussed in Task Force 6 with the title of Economy, Employment and Education in the Digital Age. So in Saudi Arabia, the G20 has recommended for safer cyberspace for children, and also provide incentive for public and private sector to develop cybersecurity skill training for children. So this was discussed in G20 of 2020. And then in Italy, so just last year, cybersecurity issue has been discussed in the Task Force 4 for the title of the digital transformation. So the recommendation was to make the consensus-based international cybersecurity standard. And I think some point of this will be also discussed in this year. And then multilateralism and civil society engagement. So this is to enhance and also to build the ambassador for G20 technology ambassador for networking and internet and technology companies. So I think this is also good recommendation from G20 in Italy last year. And then this year, everybody, we have the cybersecurity issue topic in Task Force 2 with policy area number 8, that is cybersecurity risk, threat, and data privacy. And we highlight three important things. So the first is deepfakes and security in the information environment. And I do believe that Dr. Kurbatova will make presentation about this. And then protect critical infrastructure against cyber threat, and also proactive policy change. And we welcome the suggestion and also the information from all audience to enrich the study, to make policy brief for G20 Indonesia presidency in 2022. So I do hope that from this point, we can highlight and we can understand what we should provide in this year. And then because I am thinking that my time is also limited, so I put the executive summary first. So I highlight that there are 10 points that are very important for us to think, and maybe we can also include some of the point in the policy brief and a recommendation for G20. So the first, the cybersecurity issue in G20 has been discussed and recommended since T20 of G20 of Argentina in 2018 for several issues. So I think that it is also important for us to take a look again the recommendation from the previous T20, and then we improve or we go forward in this year. And then the second, we consider both the doable or practical proposals in the policy brief, but also we consider the future study or actions. So to make the second point here, I think we need to understand what is the emerging technologies currently, that can solve some or if possible all problems related to the cybersecurity. And the third, the current simple technique to distinguish human and machine currently is the CAPTCHA. But I think that in the future we need a better technology in the future rather than CAPTCHA. And then philosophically, the security principle is the opposite of communication. And for the point number 4, this is because somebody maybe they don't understand that security and communication actually is similar, but the opposite way. And then number 5, with the rise of quantum computers, current cryptography techniques is vulnerable because some cryptography issue can be easily by the quantum algorithm. And I have some slides there. Maybe we can discuss if the time is available. And then currently we can classify the cryptography into three. The first is pre-quantum cryptography, but because of the rise of quantum computers, I think we should not consider again for the pre-quantum cryptography, except for the very strong cryptography techniques. And then the second, I think we should consider the post-quantum cryptography. That is the cryptography techniques that cannot be break by the quantum algorithm. And then the third is the quantum
Mr. Khairul,
yes,
your time has already up. Okay. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Okay, so I will continue until number 10. Okay, so everybody, because time is limited, so I go faster. So number 7 is machine learning is machine learning accuracy in the detection of the attack and also any kind of the security issue in cyber is beyond 90%. And it's mean that it's very useful for predicting the intrusion in the cyberspace. And the number 8, but quantum information and artificial intelligence or machine learning are becoming key enablers in 6G strong security. So I think in the coming technology, we are having, I think, stronger security protection. And the number 9, quantum computing, blockchain, and artificial intelligence are needed in digital transformation for data analysis as well as the security protections. So I think this is one of the reasons why we need those emerging technologies to be considered currently and also in the future. And the last, this is the long-term security technique is important since some hardware cannot be updated frequently. For example, the satellite, we can update satellite beyond 20 years, and also maybe smart home from 10 to 30 years. So due to this reason, I think we need also to consider long-term security for the cyberspace. And Mr. Yudis, I still have time or not?
No, has already finished 2 minutes ago. Sorry,
so,
Mr. Khairul.
Okay, so thank you very much. I do hope that we have very fruitful discussion in this meeting. So again, thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, Mr. Khairul, for in the time you talk a lot of things, a lot of interesting technology. We go for the second speaker from Dr. Tatiana Kurbatova from Center of Global IT Cooperations from Russia. The topic will be deepfakes and security in the information environment. Please, time and screen is yours, Ms. Tatiana.
Okay. Dear Chair, the Secretariat, thank you for invitation today. Dear speakers, dear participants, good morning. Let me make a brief presentation of the draft policy brief that is called Deepfakes and Security in the Information Environment. This policy brief will highlight challenges and impacts of deep manipulated media, known as deepfakes, on government, society, and business.
Sorry, Mr. Okay, your presentation is just coming up. Okay.
Deepfakes are an example of how technology can grow faster and our laws and leave individuals, business, governments at risk of damage without any legal protection. One may know that deepfakes tend to erase the divide between true and false content. One can see that the nature of deepfakes technology can facilitate the rapid creation, commoditization, and proliferation of deepfakes of all types and aims. It's a fact that due to its nature, deepfakes are hardly to be detected. Deepfakes can be used for malicious and criminal purposes and have very negative and dangerous consequences. In this slide, you can see a general landscape of challenges that are posed by this phenomenon. So a priority concern here is how to regulate issues related to deepfakes and deep learning technology. We believe that some damages caused by malicious deepfakes relates to various violations and crimes are regulated by legislation, some others not. There is a tendency at national levels to introduce civil or criminal liability for improper use of deepfakes. Among such countries, for example, are China, countries of European Union, India, Japan, Singapore, South Korea, UK, USA. So it demonstrates us that there is a growing concern by governments on emerging negative effects of deepfakes. Here we can see what risks deepfakes can create in many spheres. Among them are social communications, public relations. Some risks are at political level, in financial sphere, etc. Let's see some of them. At national security level, deepfakes can provide false information in a very credible form to manipulate people's opinion. People's ability to credibly assess public officials. Deepfakes can have a destructive impact on geopolitics and international relations as well. Since the advancement of deepfake technologies, political elites around the world have been the target of scandals caused by various deepfakes. So deepfakes can be an effective tool for propaganda, various sorts of radicalization of public opinion, and pose a threat to democratic mechanism. Then deepfakes can damage trust in the judicial system because evidence in courts can be manipulated by deepfake media and affect trial proceedings. And authentication and recognition of digital evidence by prosecutors in judicial practice remains one of the key problems here. When we talk about business, we can see that being combined with hacker attacks, deepfakes can be used to cheat companies, damage reputation of enterprises. They can create certain risks for markets and stocks sometimes. Regarding digital platforms and social media, one can see that social networks have recently started to monitor content to detect possible deepfakes, but they detect only 2/3 of them. Regulation of deepfakes or any policies on large internet platforms, social networks, and other mass resources is needed. Another sphere is children and youth. Deepfakes can pose a threat to the safety and well-being of children as they intensify cyberbullying and online violence against children on the internet. Realistic scenes of aggression, horror, violence, or sexual acts can be harmful to a child's mental health. Deepfakes applications are available to everyone, and they are quite easy to use in your smartphones. So deepfakes as a rule hides the real face of a child who has been physically abused, so without identifying the victim. It's very difficult for investigators to identify the perpetrator in this situation. And some words about so-called lies dividends. Here I would like to say that machine manipulated content can produce a so-called liar's dividends effect. It implies that people can successfully deny the authenticity and express doubts about content that is not actually deepfakes. That is completely true realistic video, images, or text. It's important to note that the spread of deepfakes creates an additional phenomenon that seems to be a serious threat when people have doubts about the authenticity of real videos. So people can stop trusting any content, assuming that any media can be deepfake. To T20 for G20. We would propose some recommendations and solutions that could support T20's efforts on reducing cybersecurity risks and threats caused by digital era. In our first recommendation, we believe that it may be advisable T20 could call countries to share their best practices in the field of deepfakes to contribute to international researches on the most relevant issues related to this technology in order to identify the threats and risks associated with them, to develop approaches for further policies. It could be through launching a sort of global initiative with participation of governments, public institutions, technology companies, digital platforms, social media, etc., to cope with malicious and harmful deepfakes. In our recommendation 2, we would propose that there is a need to mitigate any harmful impact stemming from the use of this technology. The G20 should recommend the introduction of specific provisions on deepfakes into various instruments in the field of artificial intelligence ethics that have been developed at international and national levels. A series of consultations with relevant international organizations such as United Nations, OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, ITU, and global forums could be initiated. In recommendation 3, we would propose the development of machine learning and sciences of modern artificial intelligence techniques are facilitated by the process of rapid improvement of software and hardware. Given the nature of deepfakes, development of regulation of deepfakes technology should be based on research and careful analysis of the relevant processes. The G20 could contribute to a better global understanding on awareness on challenges posed by deepfakes and deepfake technology, and could call countries to call on systemizing knowledge in this sphere. In my conclusion remarks, I would like to stress that the adoption of legislative measures in this area goes rather slowly. This is due to the fact that deepfakes is a multi-level problem and involves many areas, including acute and sensitive ones. What is important? All steps on development of approaches to regulatory measures on deepfakes in T20 initiative should be based on equal and fair representation of countries in the relevant working international expert groups on deepfakes. All initiatives shouldn't violate the sovereignty of countries and take into account their national legislative practices, cultural characteristics, and traditional values. T20 initiatives and possible tools, as well as political decisions or defeats, should ensure the interests of all nations, represent the position of all actors with decisive role of state institutions. Initiatives and decisions should be based on scientific analysis, evidence-based, verified statistics, and case studies. We believe that this policy brief will be of great help to T20 Task Force 2 to achieve its aims in the area of cybersecurity risks, threats, and data privacy. Thank you for your attention very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Kurbatova, for the explanation regarding the check and also the recommendation for the 20 to the G20. Okay, we will continue for the last speaker, Mr. Hugo Bras Martins da Costa. He's coming from Brazilian Center of International Relations. He will be talking about enhancing cross-border to protect critical infrastructures against cyber threat. Mr. Hugo, please, time in screen is yours.
I would like to thank Professor Sohono for organizing this meeting. Also thank
I'm so sorry. I think your voice is too low. Can you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's here, but it's a little low. Okay, but now it's better. Your typing is okay.
Okay, so I'd like to thank also Mr. Sibaran, Dr. Suedarsmulu, and all the other speakers for the insightful presentations. So, and my presentation that it's based on the paper that I'm writing with General Paulo Carvalho. I will access the cybersecurity landscape for smart cities, critical infrastructure, and I will also present key proposals regarding the international cooperation agenda and national multi-stakeholder partnership that the G20 countries should take into account when addressing the challenge of strengthening cybersecurity in their critical infrastructures. So first of all, critical infrastructures are physical and cyber system, assets and networks that have a strategic dimension as they play a vital role for the national security and sovereignty and for the integration and sustainable economy development. That
Mr. Hugo, do you have a presentations to share, or you haven't screened your no presentations? Right. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
So, so that their incapacity of destruction would have a debilitating impact on economy, society, and environment. So, in this regard, according to the Brazilian national strategy on critical infrastructure, it includes communication, energy, public security, transport, health, finance, and water infrastructures. And due to the widespread use of intelligent autonomous technologies in this kind of infrastructures, recent trends in the specialized literature see critical infrastructures migrating towards smart critical infrastructure. So smart critical infrastructures refers to the critical infrastructures that deploy and operate in cyber physical systems, data controlled equipment which interact with the physical world and collaborate and exchange data under several schemes depending on the level of maturity. And in this regard, cyber attacks on critical infrastructures, namely on smart critical infrastructure, can pose serious concerns in terms of cybersecurity, namely because they can add, modify, delete, or steal sensitive information from their databases, shut down or compromise the service offered to the citizens, creating panic or havoc. So, in order to analyze the smart cities, cybersecurity landscape, and the protection of critical infrastructures, it's important to mention that the fast-paced digital revolution brought about by the widespread use of integrated technologies and devices to improve operational efficiency in public service, transparency, and right to public information, and provide a better quality of government service and citizen welfare in smart cities, expand the cybersecurity landscape to the protection of smart cities' critical infrastructures against threats and risks. Mainly because the facilities, services, and assets that are considered vital for the functioning of the society and economy, and with if disabled Israel will have serious social, economic, political, environmental, and security impact, are now more interconnected than ever with technologies and devices across the smart cities. So, significant increase in the number of interconnected technologies and devices across the smart cities result in a phenomenal increase in security attack surface of the critical infrastructure. As a risk, cyber attacks can undermine critical infrastructure by either exploiting the vulnerabilities or creating the perception of such vulnerability exists. It can also cause serious damage in critical infrastructure by either exploiting technical or human vulnerabilities. So, cyber attacks can also cause serious damage to smart cities' critical infrastructure by either exploiting vulnerabilities directly in the smart cities' facilities, services, and assets that are essential for the functioning of city and society and economy, or exploiting the vulnerabilities in the technologies and devices interconnected to the critical infrastructure. Finally, it can also compromise the smart cities' critical infrastructure by exploiting vulnerabilities in the integrated command and control center of smart cities. So one of the main challenges is reduce the technical and human vulnerabilities in the integrated command and control center and the internet and the interconnected technology and device of smart cities, and also reduce technical and human vulnerabilities in the critical infrastructure. The lack of initiatives and minimum cooperation in this regard pose countless security challenges to the smart cities, namely to their critical infrastructures. And due to the transnational dimension of cyber threats and its increasingly sophisticated nature, enhancing critical infrastructure cybersecurity, particularly in smart cities, requires institutionalize a level of international cooperation and inclusive partnership within and across nations. So between public and private sector, as well as different level of government at the state. So by means of the main three pillars of international cooperation that are knowledge sharing, technical assistance, and transfer of technologies, as well as additional financial resource, institutionalized levels of international cooperation in cybersecurity can play a pivotal role in mobilizing and redirecting the much needed transformative power of reviewing and monitoring frameworks, regulation, and incentive structures to, and here are some of our proposals, to increase public investment in cybersecurity of smart cities, public critical infrastructures, integrated command and control center, as well as the interconnected technologies and device, implement smart cities cybersecurity governance through the cooperation with different level of governments, neighbor cities, and other smart cities, as well as through a collaborative network between the public and private sectors and technological research institutes. Institutionalized level of international cooperation can also create regulatory strategies and incentives for greater coordination between smart city cybersecurity authorities, technological research institutes, and critical infrastructure companies in view of data governance and cybersecurity principles. Last but not least, it can also promote periodic assessment of the existing data governance systems and management to detect cyber vulnerabilities in critical infrastructure networks. So, thank you so much for listening for this presentation, and I will be delighted to answer any possible questions to this presentation. Thank you, Mr. Asner.
Thank you, Mr. Hugo Price Martins da Costa. Okay, we will enter the last part of this webinar where I will take a question from the attendees, and I will. There is already one question that is coming from chat, but I take for the first priority for from the attendee that would like to open the microphone and ask directly to the speakers. If there are questions coming directly from the attendees, please raise your hand. Okay, while we are waiting, there is one question for Mr. Khairul Anwar from Jonathan from Stemic Me. Good evening, sir. I have a question regarding CAPTCHA replacements. Where do we set the boundary between cybersecurity and privacy? One of the candidates of replacement of the CAPTCHA is unique fingerprinting browser's IP address, which is actually the method that violates privacy of the internet of the users. Yes? And because you can track the browsing behavior and so on and so forth, and the history, okay? And also, but the other way, there is a Tor technology in which that you provide some form of anonymity. How do you tackle between security and privacy and with respect in the case of CAPTCHA replacement?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Yudis and
Jonathan, from
Jonathan
CIMIC.
from STEMIC. Okay. So, Pak, can I share again my slide because I have one slide to answer that in here. So first, everybody that here I differentiate between security and privacy. So when we see from the dictionary, yeah, security is the state of being free from danger or threat. Yeah, so what kind of technology that we can make, and then when it is for danger, being free from danger or threat, and then this is technology for security. And then what about privacy? Privacy is a state in which one is not observed or disturbed by other people, or the state of being free from public attention. So this is the privacy. Then related to the CAPTCHA, so I think this is very good question. I think I have here. So actually, when the technology goes up, yeah, year by year, and then the problem is coming from the users are the human or the user are the machine. So currently, the easiest technique or technology to differentiate human and machine is that we use the CAPTCHA. But since the artificial intelligence, for example, you can read, you can put the camera, and then camera see this phone. Maybe the future artificial intelligence can also read this CAPTCHA. So that's why we think that for the future we find a better technology rather than CAPTCHA. About the possible techniques explained by Dr. Jonathan, so I appreciate. Yeah, maybe we need such kind of suggestion from everybody, and also the development from everybody. What might be the better technology in the future? Yeah, better than CAPTCHA, such that when we see we can distinguish between human and machine, because a machine, for example, with the quantum computer, they can have the thousand or billion probability that they can check, but human cannot do that. So I think appreciate technology from Mr. Jonathan, that I suggest that you also develop that, and also inform to us, and also inform to the science and technology. So about the detail, maybe we can discuss offline. So thank you very much, Pak Yudis.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Khairul Anwar. Okay, is there any other questions coming in? Okay, I see. Okay. There is one question for Ms. Tatiana from Hunger from ITB. What is the current mitigation measure to be taken while slowness of response from cybersecurity practice against potential crime of deepfake? So means that there is a crime using a deepfake where actually there is slowness in response doing this. So what do you suggest as the current state of practice as a mitigations for that?
Thank you for the question. It's really a good question. We should understand that deepfakes can be used for very positive regular purposes. It is they are used in art, in autonomy, in health sector, in education sphere. So we should divide malicious deepfakes and deepfakes that are used for neutral purposes. So one of the ideas is to label, to mark this video when they, at the stage they are created. So applications, producers probably could use it, and other relevant actors could stick to this idea to label their products, their applications, their files when they are made with machine deep learning. This idea in general. Labeling.
Okay, so there is so the first mitigation is while the RT
Sorry, I failed to
okay, since
hear
I'm the
your
moderator.
question.
Okay, since I'm the moderator, I'm entitled one question, Mr. Suhono, right? Okay, so maybe for Mr. Khairul Anwar and also Mr. Tatiana first regarding the use the legal use of some technology. We talk technology in general. Maybe in your case, it's deepfakes. I mean, Mr. Khairul Anwar is varying technology. But my question is like this: there is a legitimate usage of those technology, and there is fraud or crime related activity that use particular technology. But how actually the regulation limit the use of this kind of technology to the fraudster or to the criminal? Because and what kind of do you think that techniques to prevent those to happen? Because in the old ages, I'm coming from security background. Maybe you know that American has an export control for cryptography, but those kind of limitation is too much and too easy to circumvent. So I'm not sure that in this era we will use the same type of instrument to protect those kind of technology goes to the nasty hands or the criminal hands.
You are absolutely right, because the spread of deepfakes is very high and it can be distributed very, very quickly due to social media, etc. So it's a question to be discussed, to be analyzed, to be studied by a wide range of experts to develop here policy approaches, etc. What is our idea to attract attention to this problem and discuss probably globally?
Okay, so this is an open question then, Mr. Khairul Anwar.
Okay, so thank you very much, Pak. I would like to share my slide again. Yeah, just one slide. So okay, so first related to the method to solve this problem, to solve the problem of, for example, of deep fakes or other similar threat. So first we should understand two classification of the technology. So the first is that security based on information theory and based on computation. And when actually for the based on information theory, we don't have key here. So we don't have a key such that another or even quantum computer can break, because there is no key and then it is very secure. And the easy one is the based on computation. So using key, but when we protect, and then it is secure. But if not, and then it can be break. But to the best of our experience, yeah, until now, that usually the technology is safe. But what is not safe is the human themselves. So, for example, when you try to break any either one or either information theory based security or computation based security, it is actually difficult. But sometimes what is not what is careless is the human. So that's the first thing that we need to consider. So I actually agree with the training skill upgrading for all all person in charge of the infrastructure, or the person who are having the important data. I think that is the first technique. And the second is that, for example, related to deep learning, maybe this is just my idea, Dr. Kurbatova, that maybe we can hide some information. Yeah. I don't know. We cannot hide some information in that case. Okay, so about the deepfakes, I don't know the answer. Maybe Dr. Kurbatova can provide to us about how to differentiate the my video or the fake video. So, I thought that we can hide some information, but I think this is opposite. So for that question, I don't know about for the deepfake, but in general, for according to my understanding, is that usually technology is difficult to be break, but what is easy is the human. So I think we need some law, yeah, other than technology, that we need to improve the skill of the human. Thank you very much.
Okay, there is one question coming in. It's not directed to particular speakers. From Zian Turi from Palangkaraya. We know that WhatsApp using end-to-end encryptions. So first is, what do the speaker thinks? It is actually 100% is the privacy preserving technology, or do you have another comment? And there's a what and what to end, how the chat work actually. If it is, if you think, if you believe that it is 100%, actually why do you believe that? And if it is not, then how do you how does it work so that you do not believe that this is 100% privacy preserving technology? Maybe I can start from Mr. Da Costa, maybe, if you like to comment regarding the end-to-end encryption coming from WhatsApp. Is it actually 100% save our privacy, do you think?
I didn't hear well the question. Could you please repeat, Mr.?
We know that WhatsApp using end-to-end encryption, right? WhatsApp.
Okay, I think I have nothing to comment on that question.
Right. Okay. Mr. Khairul Anwar or Mr. Ms. Tatiana, if do you want to comment regarding?
Okay, so based on my knowledge, yeah, to the best of my knowledge, that nothing is safe once we are entering to the digital network. So nothing is safe. So I think that the safety will not be 100%. I think some technique or some algorithm can break that end-to-end encryption too. Thank you,
Okay. Yeah, there is not 100%, but yeah, there is a provision, but eventually will broke. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Ms. Tatiana.
No, I wouldn't say anything. I agree with Elsa. I agree with
Okay.
Steve.
Okay. All right. Okay, then. I think that is the end of our question and answer sessions. But before we end our sessions, the organizer asks you all to take a photo together. So please kindly request to turn on your camera so that you can have a nice pose here together. Okay. Maybe an organizer can assist me, please. Good. Please, all attendees, turn on the camera, please. And please, organizer, if you would like to start the taking a picture, please let us know. who will be taking the picture, Mas Riza atau Mbak Muti?
Okay. One, two, three. Okay, next. One,
We go for the second page. Yes.
three. Okay. One more time.
All right.
One, two, three. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very, very, very much for all the speakers, all the keynote speakers, also Professor Suhono for organizing this event. And thank you for all the attendees for kindly participating in this event, and also very, very strong and tough questions, right? Okay. I think I will end this event, Goesmart 2022, as in conjunction with the T20 Indonesia, and I hope you get well, and if people from Muslim continue your fasting until the end of the dawn. Okay, have a nice weekend. If it is already you start your weekend before Friday prayer. Okay, if you still work, then have a nice work, and good day everybody. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Stay healthy, stay productive.
Yeah.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah. Thank you, Pak.
Together,
Yeah.
photo together.
We did.
Take a photo together.
We did, Pak.
We did already, Pak.
Siapa yang panitia? Oke.
Mbak Muti tadi.
Sudah ya.
Nah.
Oke, mungkin sekali lagi ya kita foto karena tadi pas belum bergabung dengan kita. Baik, 1, 2, 3. Oke, the last one. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Suhono. Thank you very much. Mr. Hugo.
Thank you, Pak Fairul Anwar. Thank you, Pak Hugo. Thank you, Mr. Hugo. Mrs. Tatiana.